What is best in life? To crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and to hear the lamentation of their women.
All right, what is it? Tuesday night? Must be the Tuesday night Radio Baloney Live. I'm your host, Richie Baloney. How's everybody doing out there? Rosie, good to see you in the chat already. All right. Steve, how you doing? Good to see you. First like on YouTube. Well, we'll get to that soon. All right. Let us go to the menu. What we're going to be talking about tonight, then we will go back to the chat, dole out some good karma, and then come back and do these stories in detail. First off, we're going to talk about this cool thing that Elon Musk wants to do, and he says he's going to do it, so I think he's probably going to do it. Mass drivers on the moon. That sounds awesome. I'm a big science fiction fan. That sounds good to me. We've got here from a video here from Rebel News. Undercover in communist China. So that'll be very interesting. We're going to take a look at that. We've got a short thing here on Trump. But when I talk about Trump's purpose, Trump's goal, the thing that Trump will be talked about in the future, if everything goes right, will be the restoration of the American spirit and the Western spirit in general at a crucial time. And just a short thing, installing the statue of Christopher Columbus made from the remains of a toppled sculpture. White House installs Christopher Columbus statue. This is the way. This is the way. Canadian immigration, as you know, is totally insane. So here's something. It's a cautionary tale for the rest of the world. We're going to take a look at this, at just how ridiculous it genuinely is, and just how incompetent a government can be if you let it. All right. Gender ideology. So there was another... Well, there was a school mass shooting that has been avoided, that's been stopped, and it's another pronoun person. So this is not long after the last one. There's been, 7 cases of this in the last couple of years in the States. Maybe it's time to start talking about it. Because it's definitely becoming a trend. Let's see, what do we got here? We've got, from Brian Lilly posted this. Carney's liberals are living in a fantasy land. Well, yes, we'll get into this, talking about the economy here. We've got a meme review tonight, a super fun meme review. It's got to be the best meme review ever. And then we've got Canadian economy. It's quite a bit of Canadian stuff in this one. We're talking about, this is tied in with Mark Carney's net zero nonsense that's going to destroy the country. We'll get into that. And then we have a bunch of stuff you guys sent, a bit of stuff you guys didn't send in that I picked out. But this is the last bookmark of the evening. And this is just a mishmash, always just a mishmash of stuff. We got some comedy in here. We got some news. We got some palate cleanser stuff. We've got lots of good fun. A dog whose best friend is a deer, where else are you going to get that? Beautiful. All right. So that's it. And that's everything I got on the menu, which is not that much for tonight. But that's okay. Because I'm giving you guys a little bit of a break. That's what I'm doing. Let's see who we got in here. We got Rosie. We got Izzy. We got Brian. We got Steve over on YouTube. Good to see you guys. Now, as everybody knows, we're streaming live on Rumble, first and foremost, then YouTube, Locals, and X. And when you become a channel member, or heaven forbid, become a channel member, like a paying channel member, wherever, or just a follower of the channel, you get free good karma, obviously. If you send me money, hell, you're definitely getting good karma for that. But just liking the stream, you can get some good karma. And when you're early, you get extra. Rosie's got the first like. It's a Tuesday night. That's 6 good karmas. Boom. Izzy's got like number 2. That's 5 good karmas. Boom. Boom, boom, boom. Steve got the first like on YouTube. That's 6 right there. So you get 6. If you're first, you get 6. You can get as many as 24 good karmas in one go. I heard of this guy who watched the stream. He didn't like. He didn't get the good karma, and he died. He died horribly. It was awful. I felt so sad. Anyway, 6 for S. Steve, so you don't have to worry about that. All right. All right. Brian says, I will be listening. A big thumbs up. Thank you so much, Brian. Very good stuff. Izzy says, good. When do we get the Trump statue? That'll be a red state thing. That'll be a red state thing. And I actually probably won't be able to be in a big city in a red state because they're all run by leftists, even in the red states. So it'll have to be a smaller town, I think. But eventually, in time, people will come to understand his value to Western civilization. Izzy says, Lib AIDS strikes again. Lib AIDS strikes again. Strikes again. Yikes. Constantly striking, I think. That's what I think is happening. All right. Well, should we just get to it, folks? It's kind of a slow night tonight. I'm not seeing that many people. I guess maybe people always show up later. A little slow so far tonight, though. Let me say to those on YouTube right now, subscribe to my second channel, Radio Baloney News. I think everything's going to end up being migrating over to there. Right now, it's all the U.S. news and world news and UK news and woke mind virus and meme reviews. All that stuff goes on to Radio Baloney News now. I'm even migrating some of the Canadian stuff there as well. So on the channel you're watching right now, 4 live streams. I'll probably just only do live streams on this in the future, coming up at some point. I'll just change the name to Radio Baloney Live. But it's just live streams and some Canadian news, and most of the Canadian news already I'm taking over to the Canadian news I'm taking over to Radio Baloney News, blah, blah, blah. So just subscribe to that channel, for God's sakes. Don't make me do this over and over and over again. I'm telling you right now, the algorithm hates you. It hates me. It doesn't want us to get together. It fears how powerful we can become. So just do it. And look, there's Oscars are failing, and then there's Trump trolls Japan. That's a good one. And vaccine reform blocked, and Afro Man wins his lawsuit. That was hilarious. Beyond woke hope. That's Canada. All that beautiful stuff. There's 228 videos there. Can you believe it? All right. Denny, how you doing? Good to see you. Let's see. Steve says, I am here for Mr. Baloney's commie hate. Commie hate. Well, we don't like those. We don't like the communists. We just don't. All right, what are we doing now? Okay, I got to get my brain in gear here. My brain is not working super fast tonight, people. Hold on. Oh, another sip. There we go. All right, let's just go. So here's something not political at all. I guess it is because it's Elon Musk, and the left hates him because he wants them to be able to express themselves freely on X for some reason. But in any case, this is not political. Doge Designer posted this. Elon Musk says that SpaceX will build a mass driver on the moon. This is exciting science fiction stuff, right? So he wants to make science fiction reality. This is definitely a science fiction thing. This is in science fiction novels. It's super cool. I read lots of science fiction novels, and I like this sort of thing. Let's hear.
What if you want to go beyond a mere terawatt per year? In order to do that, you have to go to the moon. So by having factories on the moon, building AI satellites, and having a mass driver, which is the kind of thing you really only learn about read about in science fiction, but we're going to make it real. We're actually going to have a mass driver on the moon. And if you do that, you can go several orders of magnitude greater. You can go to 1,000 gigawatts or more per year, and ultimately get to maybe a millionth, and then 1,000th, and maybe even a few percent of the sun's energy. It's difficult to imagine what an intelligence of that scale would think about. But it's going to be incredibly exciting to see it happen. I really want to see the mass driver on the moon that is shooting AI satellites into deep space. It's going like shoom, shoom, just one after the other. I can't imagine anything more epic than a mass driver on the moon and a self-sustaining city on the moon, and then going beyond the moon to Mars, going throughout our solar system, and ultimately being out there among the stars and visiting all these star systems. Maybe we'll meet aliens. Maybe we'll see some civilizations that lasted for millions of years, and we'll find the remnants of ancient alien civilizations. But the only way we're going to do that is if we go out there and we explore. And this is the path to making it happen. Thank you.
So he wants to send out, the main thing I take from this is he wants to send out AI satellites out into the universe, out into the galaxy. So Alpha Centauri, I guess, Alpha Centauri would be the closest one. That's pretty exciting. I don't know how fast this mass driver can get them moving, but, you know, it'd still take a really long time for them to get there. Maybe they could get it fast enough to go get in a human lifetime, perhaps. That'd be pretty cool. They still need a human life. Well, no, they still need 4 years after that for any information to come back. But I mean, that's pretty cool. I like that. This is a hopeful thing. This is a good thing. It's so insane that this man is so hated, right? Like he's just doing good things for humanity. Good things. And I'm taking it as well from listening to that short clip that he wants AI on the moon. And he's talking about harnessing, maybe even a few percent of the sun's energy. I'm talking about, it's hard to imagine what an artificial intelligence of that scale would even be thinking about. And probably it would be impossible, actually. And they don't even know how the AI, they don't even know how Grok really even works, or ChatGPT. They still don't really even understand how they're actually doing what they're doing. So, but that's pretty cool to me. I don't know. Let's see. Rosie says, commies get nothing. Rosie says, yes, sounds cool. Also sounds like a distraction. Well, this is just like Elon, though. This is just what he likes doing, right? He likes science fiction. He wants to make humanity a multi-planet thing, right? So he wants to make consciousness multi-planetary, right? He's been talking about these things for decades, right? It's stuff that transcends politics or distractions or what's happening in the White House. This is all stuff. This is just like totally aspirational stuff that transcends all of that. Like when I'm reading a science fiction novel, I'm not thinking, I'm glad I'm being distracted from the Iran war, right? I think that Elon has been talking about this for a long time. These things. He wants to do these things, and it's awesome and cool. So yeah, I don't know. It seems to me like pretty much everything he's done has been good for humanity. Like, free speech is hanging on by a thread with big tech still at this point. X is there. It is the thing. I mean, does Trump even get elected without X? I think you could make a point that he doesn't. Does every populist movement, would the voice of the unheard masses be heard at all anymore without X? That's the question. Let's see. Izzy says, I'm sure this will work out fine. Well, it's all coming one way or another, right? Now, in terms of shooting out AI satellites or AI probes to, I don't know, Alpha Centauri or something. I mean, you could talk about the dark forest theory, which is that in the game theory of the universe of, intelligent civilizations, it's smarter to just stay quiet. That's the safest possible thing to do, so you don't get destroyed by an alien civilization. So, maybe, I don't know. All this stuff is coming. There's nothing we can do to stop it. Look, Judgment Day is coming. All right. The Terminators are coming, and, we'll just enjoy the ride till we get there. Brian says amateur radio is a great place to start. Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. Izzy says, do we get Cylons or Terminators? Well, I mean, so we created, I guess we kind of created both, didn't we? In Battlestar Galactica and in the Terminator movie. So I don't know. Cal says, just stop by to check the weather. Okay, there we go. I forgot. I better put that back on. Let's see. So announcing it the day they announced newly manufactured routers must be manufactured in the U.S. only. Surely not planned. I don't know anything. I don't know what you're talking about, Rosie. Announcing it the day they announced newly manufactured routers must be manufactured in the U.S. only. Surely not planned. I don't know when this was even. When was this? This was posted on the 23rd, but I'm not sure when it was from. Maybe let's take a look. Let's see. Let's go here. So I guess they'll be launching satellites. Is that the main thing he said? Satellites? Maybe I just wanted to hear like probes. I don't know. Recent 2026 announcements. Blah, blah, blah. So I don't know. I don't know when it was, but this is the sort of thing he does, right? Like, was Tesla a distraction? Right? Is SpaceX a distraction? Like, did he start SpaceX as a distraction? Right? Like, this is just what he does. This is his life. This is his life's work is doing this stuff. So I don't understand where you're coming from on this one. I love Rosie. Rosie's great. She's the official Iron Lady of the channel, but I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about here. Let's see. Announcing it the day they announced newly manufactured routers must be manufactured in the US. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Why wouldn't that? That's a good thing, right? Newly manufactured routers must be made. That's good. That's security, right? That's China's not spying on you and getting all of your information. That's a good thing, right? The same as with. I mean, hey, the one thing you can say for Biden was that he did the Chip Act, which may not have been enough, but it was in the right direction in terms of getting computer chips made in the United States where not enough of them are made, and the high quality ones aren't made there. So because obviously that's a huge vulnerability, right? Computer chips, so making them in the US. So I don't see the downside. Let's see. I don't know. What would Todd Howell say about this? What would Todd Howell say about this?
It's how you adapt and handle adversity. And when things aren't going well, that's the time where victory is there.
Well, that clears it up. He's always right. Let's see. Hold on. Rosie says none of the weather ladies are in East Tennessee. No. Well, that was in Mexico. And there's one from Portugal. There's one from Spain. Name the okay. Izzy says, good idea if we get some off-brand options out of the U.S. and not just the expensive options from the big U.S. players. It's a national security issue, right? For network equipment, he's saying, yeah. Izzy says, yeah, I'm nervous about Chinese routers and switches. Yeah, it's a national security issue. Let's see. Rosie says, definitely a vulnerability. True. Rosie says, I'm saying the moon building does not seem plausible. Well, I mean, difficult. I mean, orders of magnitude easier than Mars, right? It's not as far away. It's a few days trip away instead of months. A lot easier to get stuff there. At least you can, and also like there's a chance of getting home if things go wrong. But it seems, I don't know. I mean, a huge task for sure, but I mean, we have been there, right? Like we've already been there before. So, and okay, everybody. Okay, somebody out there was ready to start typing in about how the moon landings were fake. No, they weren't. They were real. We've definitely been there. You can actually, I think you can actually see the stuff on the moon that they left. Let's see. Izzy says they used to say the same about getting through orbit. Let's see. Rose says more plausible than Mars. Here we go. Rosie says, oh, damn it, Rosie. You're just fishing for a damn it, Rosie. That's what's happening here. We have been there. Yes, I know you're kidding. Hard, will people die? Probably. But again, we've been there. So it's just a lot harder to stay there is the thing. But yeah, I mean, I think it's, look, I'm not going to doubt Elon on this one. Let's see. Brian Lynch says, understanding the fundamentals of the radio spectrum is fundamental in getting a proper weather forecast. That's true. Absolutely true. Izzy says, mission accomplished. All right. All right. Is this going to be, I have to fight the chat? Is this a Baloney chat fight night? Is this a Royal Rumble? Let's see. Rosie just came for the damn it, Rosie. Now she's out of here. Damn it, I feel used. All right. All right. Now what are we doing? Let's see. Well, let's see is there anything underneath there? Optimus, Grok, and Musk on Mars. Well, that's it. That's what's going to happen right there. That's the future. Let's see. Crazy thing is, it's been over half a century since we last went to the moon. And when they went with like insanely simple tech as well, which is crazy. What's going on here? Let's take a look.
The crazy thing is that it's been over half a century since we last went to the moon. You know, I think that's what causes people to be skeptical. Like, how come we can't go to the moon now? It was 66 years from the first controlled powered flight of the Wright brothers in 1903 to landing on the moon in 69. Only 66 years. But, you know, like 50 years have passed since we last went to the moon. But now we're going to go back there, and we're going to go back there soon. The next step, I think, is to build a moon base, like Moon Base Alpha. Make sci-fi real. Remove the fire part of sci-fi. The crazy thing is that it's been over half a century since we last.
I think it's plausible. I mean, I don't see any reason why you couldn't. I mean, again, probably people are going to die doing it, but you know, people died building bridges all like today. Let's see. Izzy says, "Do you want it to be? What do you mean? Fight night? Rumble night on Rumble?" No, I don't. I don't like violence. Let's see. Izzy says more tech in a smartwatch, yeah, than the original moon missions. RPW 2025 says we're 6 manned NASA moon landings from 1969 to 72. I don't know the exact. I'm not a moon landing historian. It was around then, I guess. Around then. But there's no reason they couldn't do it, right? Just super incredibly dangerous. And it, you know, obviously. All right, hold on. We got that. What's he saying here? No. That was just a GIF. Let's see. What's this?
Initiating assembly sequence. Foundation is solid, on schedule. This changes everything. Initiate.
Okay. Regular driver, mass driver. Uh-oh. I don't think that's exactly it. All right. Anyway, I think it's cool. I'm looking forward to it. All right. So Cuba. Rebel News says the reality in Cuba is far more dire than expected. Days after the U.S. captured Venezuelan dictator Nicolas Maduro, Rebel News, Alexa, and entered one of the world's most tightly controlled countries, posing as tourists. So days after the U.S. captured Venezuelan dictator Nicolas Maduro, the voice Alexa and E. Flores Monsanto entered one of the world's most tightly controlled countries, posing as tourists. This is what Cuban authorities do not want you to see. So let's take a look. This is 48 minutes. We're obviously not going to watch all this. We'll watch the beginning.
¿Te gustado na to?
Ya, me encanta.
Todo no es el bloqueo. No, la gente no gusta comer.
That guy just said, not everything is the blockade. Communism doesn't work. This is the thing. You had the Code Pink flotilla down to Cuba, and they all went and stayed, communist podcasters and stuff all went and stayed at the 5-star hotel. Apparently they brought some aid, probably half of which they consumed themselves on the way. But pretending that the blockade is that's why Cuba is poor, is impoverished, and an authoritarian state, right? No, it's communism. It's been like that forever. Yes, it's worse now with the energy blockade, but it's been terrible. I mean, it's been, constant blackouts. It's been horribly run. The place has been run into the ground, and it has the poverty that you get in a communist country, all of them. There is no place you can point to and say, well, if it hadn't been for the United States, Cuba could have been like this. Like what? Like North Korea? Where's the success story you point to? It's just amazing how these just decade after decade, just the fantasy continues. It's so strange. This guy's saying communism doesn't work.
El comunismo no funciona. 60 y pico de años y no hay adelanto.
Yes. Donald Trump nos quiere ayudar. He want to help. He want to help, but he don't want the communists. No quiere que the communists is looking for.
We begin with the extraordinary breaking news out of Venezuela. The country's leader, Nicolas Maduro, now sits in a detention center in Brooklyn, New York.
For his crimes against the United States, crimes for which he has now been indicted and is in federal court awaiting trial. And he killed many people.
Do you think maybe Cuba would be next?
I honestly think that this can be a snowball effect in the long run. Those countries can also be able to be freed.
Realmente yo espero que Cuba sea
So these interviews are taking place in Miami.
libre.
It was Cubans that guarded Maduro. He was not guarded by Venezuelan bodyguards.
But Cuba now has no income. They got all of their income from Venezuela, from the Venezuelan oil. They're not getting any of it.
Estamos dispuestos a dar hasta nuestra propia sangre, hasta nuestra propia vida, pero a un precio muy caro.
Que me perdone el presidente de este país, porque para mí mi presidente ahora es Dios. Y para muchos cubanos que no pueden hablar, que están callados. ¿Por qué están callados? Porque es a base del sistema y de la represión que hay bajo poder.
Keep in mind, this is like right after Maduro, right? So
Trump has signed an executive order declaring a national emergency and establishing a process to impose tariffs on goods from countries that sell or otherwise provide oil to Cuba.
Enseña a tus amigos del país. Quisiera que Cuba tenga cambio. Yo soy cubano, que son canadienses, y ellos quieren saber la realidad cubana, ¿no?
Hoy en la actualidad es muy difícil. Tú vas a Centro Habana, vas a verlo, todos los basureros y las personas buscando basura.
¿Qué piensa de Donald Trump?
keep in mind, this is before the blockade, right? Or right right when it was starting to be implemented. So this isn't anything to do with that.
Mucha gente dice que está loco, pero con Cuba no está loco. No. The Cuban people want the Michael Rubio president.
It is a failing nation. It has been
It just said the Cuban people want Marco Rubio as president. Well, it would have to be a massive improvement, wouldn't it?
a long time, but now it doesn't have Venezuela to prop it up. So we're talking to the people from Cuba, the highest people in Cuba, to see what happens.
Todo empezó por Julieta. Todo empezó por él. Y hasta hoy, hace más de 60 años, estamos en lo mismo.
Que ya los cubanos no están de acuerdo con comunismo porque ya no comunismo, ya
Wow. So, I mean, like, there's a reason why communist countries are all run by dictatorships, because they have to be. They have to be. Otherwise, the people will revolt. It needs to be an iron-fisted regime. Otherwise, people revolt because they don't like it, because it doesn't work. Over and over and over and over again, it's proven that it doesn't work. Right? The glorious Soviet empire collapsed under its own inefficiency and corruption. China ended up having to become capitalist to survive. And now they're doing quite well economically, at least for the time being. It does not work. You want to know the perfect example of communism? North Korea. It exists right now, right on this. It's right here on Earth right now. You could go live there. Any communist can go. I'm sure they'll take you. If you are a dyed-in-the-wool communist, I bet you North Korea would take you. I mean, they'd probably immediately throw you into a work camp because they think that you're a spy, but you could go there. And again, I mean, that's what they have to do to stay in power, so you should be fine with it. If you love communism that much, you should be happy to go to the labor camp and be worked to death. All right, let's see. Well, we already covered that the other night. Let's see. Let's go back to the chat for a second. RPW says most people think there was only one. Are you talking about moon landing? Manned moon mission? I don't know. Let's see. Brian says, I'm an old man, and I wish all of you well on your grand adventure. No commies allowed. Well, I can appreciate that sentiment. Let's see. Rosie says, people are hungry everywhere. More people are hungry. Well, I know that in Canada you get 2 million people a month using the food banks now, so anywhere there's communism. Let's see. What do we got? Hold on. All right, let's move on. What do we got next? So, White House installs Christopher Columbus statue made from the remains of toppled sculpture. Let's actually go to the article here. Now, when I talk about Trump, for all of his problems, right? The grand overarching importance of Donald Trump is the restoration of Western civilization, of Western civilization's belief in itself, starting with the United States, and hopefully that's spreading to the rest of the Western world. Basically, he's saying, hey, you're not going to manage decline is not happening under my watch. National suicide is not happening on my watch. Actually, we built the greatest society in the history of mankind, the greatest levels of human well-being and prosperity in all of history, and it's not even close. So, no, the self-flagellation stops now. It stops with me. It goes no further than me. That is the important thing about Trump. That's why he didn't just talk about shutting down the border. He actually did it, because that one issue was the most important issue out of all of them. And there's a lot of important ones. The SAVE Act, that's another one. So There are peripheral issues around all of this. There's what's happening in Iran, whether you agree with that or disagree with that, but there's peripheral issues. There's certainly tweets that you can say, I kind of wish you didn't do that one. But the overarching, the big picture on this is that somebody needed to stand up and say, no, actually, we're pretty fucking great. We're not evil. We're not genociders. We're not responsible for, every sin in human history. We're not uniquely guilty. Actually, we're great. Actually, we spread prosperity and democracy across the world. We've actually done that. Yes, are there bad stories too? Yes, there are. But if you're talking about empires, it doesn't really get much more benevolent than the American one, even with the horror stories. Because the world is a really, really scary place, a very violent, dangerous place, and it has been throughout history. All right, like nobody ever talks about the Ottoman Empire, right? How many people talk about, the Armenian genocide? Nobody does, right? It's just Western civilization that's bad. And Trump stood up and said, no, that's bullshit, actually. Now, we made something great, and we're going to continue it. We're going to make it even better. That's why Trump is important. Okay, all the other stuff is peripheral. We're talking existential here. It's why I kind of hate seeing people, I'm not even going to say the not crazies, right? The not radical far leftist crazies, the non-crazies. That's why I hate seeing these fractures forming and all these little wars and battles going on. It just seems so stupid and counterproductive. This is a genuine existential crisis. What do you think would have happened if Kamala had won? How many people did Biden let across the border when he just opened the gates to the barbarians? What? The lowest estimate I hear is 10 million. I hear up to 20 million. What do you think Kamala was going to do? She was going to finish the job. They were going to naturalize as many millions of those people as possible, as they could, and get them voting, and that would have been it. Game over. Then it just would have been managed decline. And it would have been actually a pretty steep, I think it would have been a pretty steep, a steeper slope than most people can even imagine. So, yes, to me, that's the importance. Installing the statue of Christopher Columbus at the White House. That's the restoration that I'm talking about, okay? That's why Trump is important. That is just a small symbol of what his overarching mission is, and the overarching importance of his time in history. All right. Rosie says, we need a Radio Baloney sculpture. 1,000%. And something beautiful has just happened here, folks. Something beautiful has just happened. I'm looking in the chat here, and what do I see? And I almost can't believe my eyes. Am I dreaming right now? I don't think that I am. I'm pinching myself. No, I'm awake. Rosie just gifted a subscription to Radio Baloney here on Rumble. I mean, what a beautiful thing. Probably the grandest gesture anybody has ever made. You know what that means. Best person ever goes to Rosie. I heard some jackass the other day out in the street corner bragging about how great he was and everything. Blah, blah, blah. I did this. I did that. I walked up to him. I stuck a finger right in his chest. I said, you, sir, compared to Rosie, are human garbage. And everybody applauded. I said, Rosie's the best person ever. She's gifting subscriptions to my channel. And that's what it takes in this world. Anyway, one more time. Best person ever. And seriously, it really is the best thing anybody can do for my channel. Let's go down a little bit here. Let's see. A new statue of Christopher Columbus went up on the White House grounds Sunday that was built using pieces from a monument to the Italian explorer that protesters destroyed 6 years ago. So during the George Floyd Summer of Love, the 13-foot, 1-ton replica of a Columbus statue toppled in Baltimore in 2020, then dumped into the city's inner harbor, was commissioned by the Conference of Presidents of Major Italian-American Organizations and is part of the White House's celebration of America's 250th anniversary. Good. This is what needs to be done. This is the restoration that I'm talking about. This is just a small symbol of the restoration that needs to happen. The statue has been placed outside the Eisenhower Executive Office building. So, I mean, and this is also just a stick in the eye to the commies, to the far leftists, the progressives, to the haters of Western civilization, to the socialists, saying, this thing that you broke, we're taking it back, we're making it better, and we're sticking it at the White House. All right. And of course, it will infuriate them because they want to destroy every symbol. They want to destroy the past. It's the four olds, the Maoist four olds. You have to destroy everything from the past, right? To build the new utopia, which turns out is more of a dystopia. And this is him saying, no, not on my watch. Not on my watch. You're wrong. We're right. And we're proud about it. That's why Trump is so important. It transcends politics. Again, this is an existential crisis. You know, empires rise and fall. And he's saying, not on my watch. And that's a very good thing for the entire world. All right. Let's see. All right. Anything underneath here? There's my good rant there. I don't think we need to get back to that. Let's go here. What are we doing now? What are we doing? It's quiet. It's quiet tonight, isn't it? It really is. Where is everybody? What's going on tonight? Is there something happening on the TV? Is there some big event? Where is everybody? All right. Anyway. Let's see. Mark Nixon, breaking. King Carney returns from a lavish Italy trip, then refuses to take questions in the House of Commons. Pierre Poilievre obliterates ministers on immigration. It's complete humiliation. King Carney, nowhere to be found. Well, the entire immigration system in Canada is an utter mess. You've got God knows how many people that shouldn't be in the country wandering around. The government has no idea where they are. Let's take a look at what, actually, hold on a second. Let's go down here, actually. So from Bruce McGonigal, actually, I think this is the one I wanted to show you. It's not as long. Pierre Poilievre calls for the immigration minister, justice minister, and minister of Canadian identity. You know what? Screw it. Let's go back to here. We got time. I don't actually have that much on the calendar. Let's do this one. Let's go back.
With that kind of incompetent, incoherent answer, it's not hard to understand how that minister failed to investigate 97% of the 150,000 suspected cases of fraud in the international student program. Mr. Speaker, not only that.
Now, before we come back to this, let's go here from the Epoch Times. AG finds critical weaknesses in oversight of foreign students program. A separate AG report found the RCMP is not recruiting new officers fast enough to meet operational needs. We're not. The country wasn't set up. The country didn't have that the infrastructure to handle the masses of immigration that we've seen under the Liberals. One of the reports tabled March 23 found that Immigration, Refugees, and Citizenship Canada, IRCC, had failed to verify whether study permit holders were complying with the terms of their permits. Well, that's not a surprise when you're taking in just millions. The Immigration Department had introduced a tool that verified 97% of acceptance letters from designated learning institutions submitted with study permit applications. However, the department only investigated 4,057 4,057 of the 150,000 cases flagged in 23 and 24 for possible violations of study permit conditions, the report said. So, not even trying. I think, honestly, they just don't care. It was just flood the country with as many people as possible. That was the main concern. Kind of like the Biden administration, right? The audit found critical weaknesses in the program's integrity controls, said a release from the Auditor General. In the cases that were investigated, limited action was taken to confirm noncompliance beyond contacting the student for more information. I mean, you read this and you think, can that be real? I have to reread it. In the cases that were investigated, limited action was taken to confirm noncompliance beyond contacting the student for more information, according to the report. So what, sending an email? The Auditor General said about 41% of the investigations could not be completed because of a lack of response from the students. So you just don't have to respond, and it's fine. Another critical weakness found in the program's integrity controls was the department's failure to follow up on 800 individuals suspected of misrepresenting information or using fraudulent documents in their applications. Most of these people later applied for other immigration permits while in Canada, with around 68% of them being approved. I wonder what percent just decided to become refugees. The Auditor General said the department did not consider acting in any of the cases, which was a serious concern. A serious concern. It's almost like they don't care. It's almost like it's just about jamming in as many people as possible. The department did not track which students were expected to leave Canada each year or which ones had already left. Of the 549,000 individuals whose study permits expired in 2024, 93% were allowed to remain in Canada, the Auditor General found. Yeah, you see, so we keep hearing about how Mark Carney has cut immigration. He's cut the student visas, and the population has gone down, except they have no idea if the population has gone down because they don't track whether or not they leave. Here we have of 549,000 individuals whose study permits expired in 2024, 93% were allowed to remain in Canada. I don't think, what is the percentage of any of these people, whether it's the international mobility program or temporary foreign workers or the students, what percent are actually leaving? You can't just say, well, the visas were discontinued for this many, so therefore the population's gone down this much. No, you can't say that because you don't know if any of them have even left. Maybe the whole lot of them just apply to be refugees. All right, let's go back to this. Let's continue.
Of the 3% that he did have investigated, they abandoned half of those because the suspected fraudster did not respond to investigators' emails. Mr. Speaker, this is the current Liberal government. Will the current Liberal Prime Minister take responsibility, fire that minister, the Justice Minister, and the Immigration Minister?
The Honourable Minister of... Well, I'm going to go out on a limb and say the answer is no, and then change the subject probably, and tell everybody that everything's great.
Justice. Speaker, if he wants to talk about incompetence in politics, he need look no further than the mirror. Listen to the approach that he takes.
So I predicted he would change the subject, and he immediately changes the subject. Okay, and then he's going to tell us about how great the Liberals are and what a great job they're doing.
On Canada-U.S. relations, saying it's not the Americans' fault, it's ours, we're stupid, while his caucus colleagues go down to south to say that we're throwing a hissy fit up here. You want to see incompetence? Let's look at the Conservative leader's statement.
Oh my God, this is just embarrassing. It's embarrassing. Canadians obviously aren't watching this. They're obviously not watching Parliament, right? They're obviously not watching this stuff. It's just embarrassing. How can you watch people like this who've been around forever? He's the guy who ruined the immigration department in the first place. He's the guy who ruined immigration in Canada in the first place. How do they just year after year this is what we get. And then they just stand up and change the subject when they're called on their failures and then say everything's great. And apparently that's good enough for liberal voters.
Calling the RCMP leadership despicable and calling on his political opponents to be jailed. We will move forward with thoughtful policy that ensures our immigration system moves with integrity while we welcome newcomers who can help grow the economy.
The honorable leader of the opposition.
So there you go. Everything's great. No problems. They're doing a great job.
This prime minister is rewarding and encouraging incompetence by putting the single worst immigration minister in Canadian history in as the new Minister of Justice. That minister caused a 300% increase in population growth. Now we know that there were hundreds of thousands of potentially fraudulent cases that he refused to have investigated. 97% of the cases of potential fraud were uninvestigated, and half of the remaining 3% were abandoned because the fraudsters did not respond to emails. Will the Prime Minister take responsibility for these incompetent Liberals and fire them now?
I'm going to guess the answer is no, and they're great, and everything they're doing is working super well.
The Honourable Minister of Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Let me repeat for that member and his entire caucus. As I said, since 2025, 100% of the discrepancies reported were followed up. And they were followed up 100% since 2020.
Except the Auditor General says no, so she's just lying. And, I mean, these people, these hobgoblins, I mean, they've had control of this country for a decade. I don't know what more Canadians need to see to figure this out, to figure out this problem. What's wrong with Canada?
25, with the high-risk investigated, the Auditor General confirmed improvements took place. IRCC has tightened its approach, and we have control over the student visas. The numbers prove it. Thank you.
Yeah.
So, what do you even say at this point? What do you even say at this point? Well, I guess we just have to believe it. Everything's great, actually. They got everything totally under control.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Okay, now the mystery is resolved. We have only 3% of the 150,000 cases of suspected fraud were investigated at all. Half of those investigations were abandoned because the alleged fraudster didn't respond to their email. But now we learned they have followed up with another email, Mr. Speaker, and the threat is clear. If there is no response to that email, there will be yet another email, Mr. Speaker. With this kind of total incompetence under the leadership of the current Liberal Prime Minister, why won't he fire these three ministers so we can get the system?
I think the answer is they want all the intention was never temporary foreign workers. The intention was never temporary anything. It was just they want to keep them all. That was a way to get them in and then keep them here, right? These will be loyal liberal voters. That's what I think. I don't know. What else could it possibly be, right? Is it possible for a government to be this incompetent? I rather doubt it. I think it actually mirrors what was happening in the United States under Biden. Like they want them in and they want them to stay. It doesn't matter who they are. Doesn't matter if they're criminals. Doesn't matter what they do while they're here, right? I mean, in Canada, they actually get lighter. They're charged with lesser crimes, so it won't affect. So in Canada, foreign criminals are charged with lesser crimes, so it won't affect their immigration status. My feeling on it is that any breaking of any law and you're out. That's my feelings on it, but I think a lot of Canadians might feel that way too, but yikes. Let's see, what do we got here? Yeah, so we already looked at the report on the okay, so here's on the CBC. What's going on here? So Amanda Galbraith on the Auditor General report exposing the foreign student program disasters. This was CBC Watcher. Let's take a look.
Amanda, the report confirms what many observers have been saying for a long time, that post-COVID international student program was frankly a bit of a mess.
Yeah, I think a dumpster fire is a kind way to describe what is before us here. I mean, 150,000 cases, like the system throws up red flags. They make 2 phone calls, nobody says anything, and the government just ignores it. And respectfully, if the minister is one saying, I've only been in the job for a fraction of this audit, so don't point the finger at me. Like, you've been part of, there's a Liberal government that's been in place for over a decade. Like, it is at their feet. Not to mention the fact that if you need more resources to actually investigate and take this matter seriously, then advocate for more resources. Like, this is the government. This is their choice not to properly resource the department to investigate these issues. And frankly, this is part of why the consensus in this country around the benefits of immigration is eroding, because we see abuse in the system. And this should be taken seriously and solved, and good for the AG for getting to the bottom of it.
Yeah, Brad, the other thing that's potentially troubling, of course, is that they can't keep track of 23,500 students. They've just kind of disappeared into the abyss.
Potentially troubling, he says. Potentially.
National students whose permit expired, they can't find them, they don't know where they are. I mean, if that's a pattern, that's concerning that the federal government can't keep track of these folks who are here on student permits. And that certainly, to Amanda's point, potentially undermines.
Is it concerning, or is it a massive scandal? In another country, would it be a massive scandal? Would people get fired for this? Right? But it's CBC, so he's got to kind of tamp it down a little bit, make sure people don't get too concerned about this massive disaster, this utter and total, well, you can call it incompetence. Maybe you can just call it the plan.
Trust in the immigration system, doesn't it?
It might undermine trust. That it's a total disaster, that they've been wrecking the country on purpose. From Harrison Faulkner here. Conservative MP Michelle Rempel Garner asked Canada's immigration minister why she is kowtowing to Tim Hortons and not fighting for young Canadians. Well, that's a good question. Why is every single Tim Hortons in Canada now a Punjabi village?
So did you tell your colleague Patty to take a flying leap when she said that Tim Hortons should get more temporary foreign workers after the jobs numbers came out last week? Like, why aren't those jobs going to Canadian workers? And why are you guys kowtowing to Tim Hortons?
So lovely performance as usual, Madame. Thank you for the question. We have a letter from many Conservative members who have written to me and to Minister Haidu and to another minister of requesting those changes. In fact, pleading that they require those changes.
That's right.
In their province.
They were pleading to end the temporary foreign worker program and replace it with a standalone program for agriculture.
Absolutely not the case.
No, it is. And I know for a fact.
Absolutely not the case. You were not copied on those letters.
Oh, I was, and I saw them. And now you're misleading the committee. Would you like me to read that to you? Or would you like to say that that was a performance too? Look, I get it. Your colleagues have to cover for you. They go to the CBC to say they can't talk to you. You don't talk to your colleagues and the ministers about serious issues like this. That's a problem. I'm going to ask you this. You were supposed to be here for 2 hours today. Why are you leaving at the 1 hour mark? Is it because you can't handle basic questions like this? Like, why aren't you fighting for Canadian kids' jobs?
Tough but fair. Tough but fair.
That's exactly what we do day in, day out. I fight for them as the minister. The government is fighting for them. I say to you, it's best that you start fighting with them as well.
I can tell you right now, I was just in a small town, a couple hours drive last week for a couple of days. And I would say the vast majority of people working there, including the hotel staff, were locals. I don't believe Tim Hortons when they say that they need to have more foreign workers. They need people that will work for minimum wage, right? They need people that won't demand raises, that won't complain. That's what they need. They need subsidies from the government for foreign workers, right? That's what they need. It's all a giant lie. I mean, we've got youth unemployment of 15%, but they can't staff Tim Hortons. They need foreign workers to staff Tim Hortons. I don't believe that. I think what they're doing is avoiding paying fair rates. So letting the market decide. This isn't capitalism, all right? What's happening in Canada is not capitalism. Under what should be happening is that supply and demand is demanding how much they have to pay the people working the jobs. That's what should be happening. They're avoiding that by bringing in foreign workers to suppress wages and to get, subsidy perks from the federal government, which Canadians have to pay for. What's this here? International students are being recruited. This is Mario Zelaya. International students are being recruited for $10,000 to shoot up homes and businesses in Surrey. Not gang members, people who came here on a student visa. That's the thing. A lot of gang members came here on a student visa, though. And when they get caught, they claim refugee status to avoid deportation. I mean, geez, how did we get the extortion crisis in Canada? We've got literally cities begging for assistance from the federal government because they can't handle the level of crime. Just madness. What's going on here? Alexandra Lavoie from the Rebel News. Here's that lady. I showed you her video before. She's a refugee, a Palestinian refugee. And there's a video of her, which I showed you, going around on Halloween and being mad at Halloween decorations because they frighten her. And she's from Gaza. And she said, fuck white people, fuck Westerners. Palestinian refugee melted down when asked why she despises the very people who welcomed her. Well, let's take a look.
Harassing me.
Why did you hate the white people? Why did you hate people?
Fuck you as well. I don't want to talk
Halloween
to you.
decoration.
Fuck off. Mind your own business. That's your business. Piece of shit. Fuck off. You're not fucking indigenous. You're white as fuck. Where are you from? Because your fucking country is killing my people. Do you know that or not? You're fucking Canada. The government is funding Israel.
Hamas attack is.
Then get the fuck out. Why are you here? Leave. Why has the government not asked her very politely to please go? We'll buy you a ticket. All right. I'm sure we could start up a GoFundMe to get her a ticket back to Gaza.
Israel on October 7.
Fuck you, asshole. Fuck you, asshole. You just like this bullshit to go like have views, right? You're fucking ugly. You're fucking ugly.
Muslim country.
That's none of your
You know what? I can't stomach any more of it. Like, this is what the compassionate, empathetic liberals are doing to this country. Bringing in people like this. Tristan Hopper commented, he said, so question. By the way, he wrote the book Don't Be Canada, which is excellent, by the way. I would recommend it. So question, you just continue importing people like this. Whole communities of hateful degenerates who despise Canada, despise our values, and teach their children the same. What's your end game? That they just magically calm down one day? Or that the obscene consequences only manifest long after you're dead? I guess that's a question for the liberal boomers who do not seem to care about the next generations at all. We don't need this in Canada. Why would we want this? Why has she not been put on a plane and taken back to Gaza? Does this person deserve to be in Canada? Does she deserve the generosity of the Canadian people? I think not. All right. It's just madness. It really is just madness. Let's see. All right. Do I have anything else here that I wanted to get to? No. All right. Let's go back to the weather report. What are you guys talking about? Let's see. So we got Spambot in the chat. Arrived late. Better late than never. Let's see. He got like number 3. So that is that's 4 good karmas. Boom. Oh, he said 5. So that's 2 good karmas. Boom. 2 good karmas is still really good. That's double good karma. Rose says it's like adding a cup of water to a Coke, then complaining it does not taste like Coke anymore. than putting the same person in charge of drinks the next time. Yes, that's what Canada's doing. And all of these, like most of these ministers are all just recycled from different positions in the Trudeau cabinet. Yet Canadians seem to like it. It's weird. Steve says, I don't understand Canada's parliamentary system. It's even more maddening than Democrats and Republicans. Well, it's got its own benefits and its own problems as well, but we won't get into it in this chat. Let's see. Rosie says, speaking of interpreters, she should be forbidden from audible speech and required to use interpreters of some sort. Yes, the immigration minister. Yeah, anything would be better. Brian Lynch says, you give me a bit of much needed therapy. Well, thank you very much, sir. This is all therapy for me, too. Otherwise, I would literally be outside shouting at clouds. Bambot says, I have the first and only like on X. Well, that, my friend, that bags you 6 good karmas, plus the 2 you got from Rumble. That's 8 good karmas. Good Lord. That's almost too much for one person. Let's see. Izzy says, member of gang, right out of the country right away. That's what a sane country does. Oh, this person who came into our country on a student visa is actually in a gang and is a part of an extortion gang and is shooting at houses. Right out. Oh, darn it! They filed to be a refugee. Oh, I guess we have to pay for them. I guess we have to pay for their food and lodging now. That's an insane thing. Steve says, "What's a Hortons? Is that a restaurant or a Target type place? It's a donut shop in Canada, and all across Canada. And it's like you can't find one now where English is the first language. It's all temporary foreign workers, and like." Local one I stopped going to years ago, like 10 years ago already. It was bad because I went in and nobody could speak English and there was flies everywhere. And I'm like, this place just got gross. Why are they doing this? People keep going though. It's amazing. Let's see. Steve says it's a commie pinko plot to destroy the West. It's a commie pinko plot to destroy the West. Why do they keep importing people that hate the West if that's not what they're trying to do? Well, I agree 100%. Yes. It's not a coincidence that you had these governments all across the Western world all doing the exact same thing, maybe not in exactly the same way, but doing the exact same thing all at once, right? And not just with immigration, it's with censorship, everything. Remember Biden had his Mary Poppins of disinformation, for their new American Ministry of Truth before before he was forced to throw that out the window because of the backlash, because it was just so obviously an authoritarian move. Let's see. Cal asks, how can they ask us to pay taxes? I mean, that's not even talking about them giving away the land, Aboriginal title to. I mean, Mark Carney gave Aboriginal title to the 3rd largest city in the country, in Richmond already. Like, I think property values have dropped by half in Richmond, where they gave away the 800 acres to the Cowichan Band. I think $200 million in investment just left, right? There's that did not help with the unemployment problem in Canada. How can they ask those people to pay taxes? You should ask. It's insane. This country is completely and utterly mad. All right, let's move on. What do we got next? So Wesley Yang posted this. A 15-year-old girl who goes by he, him pronouns has been arrested in Nova Scotia after being caught planning a massacre at her school. And this is a story that is becoming, that we're hearing about too often. Here's from the CBC. Nova Scotia teen accused of planning school attacks to remain in jail. Let's see. What's going on here? The defense lawyer also told the court that the teen uses the pronouns he and him. Police had earlier described the Bridgewater accused as a girl. So it's another trans thing. And these are becoming real. This is the second one in a very short amount of time in Canada. And this is following, 6, 7 over the last couple of years in the States. Something is happening here. Tristan Hopper says that's 2 consecutive Canadian school shooting plots involving trans-identifying teenagers. And this in a country where K through 12 school shootings are exceedingly rare. If this were any other demographic cohort, media and politicians would rightly be asking, what the hell is happening? Yes, they would. This, they just kind of cover it up. It's no big deal, nothing. Oh, it's just not totally incidental. Well, maybe it's not. Maybe it's not. It feels like a trend, doesn't it? But of course, in Canada, to even think about that is bigoted. All right, let's move on. What's going on here? Let's get back to the chat for a second, actually. Hold on. Steve Tollison says, I've never seen a white guy behind the counter of a donut shop in my life. Well, the thing is, not that long ago, certainly in living memory, the Tim Hortons donut and coffee shops were just local kids working in them. Back when they weren't infested with flies, when there weren't flies crawling all over the donuts in the summertime. I remember those days. It's not that long ago. Local kids used to do these jobs. They used to work at McDonald's. Not anymore. Rosie says, Richie, it seems so unfair. 2 weather reporters from Mexico, 0 from Canada, 0 from US. On the Weather Channel, I know. It's very sad. I don't know why that is. JJ Nevada got lucky number 7. Lucky number 7. Well, I'm going to say the 7th like gets you 1.25 good karmas. Boom. All right. What do we got next? So Brian Lilly posted this. He makes the observation here that Carney's liberals are living in a fantasy land. So here they're being questioned about bad job numbers, really bad job numbers. Over 100,000 jobs lost in the first couple of months of this year. Here's Melissa Lantsman, and she is, I think, here's Melissa Lantsman, conservative MP, and let's hear what she has to say.
The honourable member for Thornhill.
Nobody, not even this Liberal government, can sugarcoat the findings in the most recent jobs report. It revealed the largest collapse in full-time jobs since COVID, over 100,000 jobs lost, and a youth unemployment rate of 14% now. TD called it weak, CIBC called it very bad, and BMO called it simply brutal. But it's more than just words. It's empty bank accounts, it's skipped meals, and it's fleeting hope. We need action now. Will the government commit today to adopting our Conservative jobs plan to get the economy back on track and people back to work?
Yeah, way to go. All right, so let's see if the first thing that happens is they distract and then say they're awesome. Let's take a look.
The Honourable Minister of Finance.
Mr. Speaker, it is shameful to see the Conservative talking down the Canadian economy. Canadians are proud people, Mr. Speaker.
So there's the distraction, right? There's the diversion.
We have the most educated workforce in the world, Mr. Speaker. We build ships, we build cars, we build planes. We have critical
It's just that we don't build enough, right? That's the problem.
minerals. We have energy. We are the only G7 country which have a trade agreement with all the other G7 nations. Mr. Speaker, on this side of the House, we're proud of our workers, we're proud of our industry, and we believe in Canada.
So there you go. Distract, and then they're awesome. So that don't answer the question, and then they're awesome. That's it. This is just what you get every single time. This must be just like every session of parliament. They must just be briefed, say, don't answer the question, and then say that everything is awesome. You can count on it. I mean, you can just bet on this. It's as sure as the sun rising in the morning.
That was a terrible answer, Buckley.
Yeah. The honourable member for Thornhill.
The only thing that's shameful is an answer like that from somebody who has been here for 10 years, who has created a homegrown problem with their out-of-control taxes, their out-of-control spending, and mountains of red tape. And now we have the only shrinking economy in the G7, the second highest unemployment rate, the highest household debt, and the highest food inflation, and everyone else is dealing with the tariff war too. So when will this government admit that their policies are killing jobs and reverse course before they kill even more next month?
Okay, well, obviously she's not aware that everything's actually awesome. And let's hear it. Let's hear it from the Liberals.
The Honourable Minister of Jobs and Families.
Well, Mr. Speaker, it's almost as if they don't understand that we're in a tariff war, that there is a war in the Middle East that's threatening.
Oh my God, tariff war. This has been going on now. Okay, the Canadian economy has been going off a cliff for 10 years, over 10 years now. GDP per capita started declining pretty much as soon as the Liberals got back into power again. And let's see, war in Iran, really? What's it been on for 3 weeks now? Really? That's the cause of Canada's problems? Maybe it's 10 years of these people.
Canadians' economies right now. And Mr. Speaker, we've been preparing to support workers in these turbulent times. And yet again, they vote against every measure we put forward for workers. But that's not what the Ontario government is saying. I was so proud to sign the Canada-Ontario Workforce Tariff Response. And in fact, we got support from Vic Fideli, Mike Harris, the Premier himself. Mr. Speaker, provinces are working with the federal government to take care of workers. All we hear from that side is voting against workers time and again.
There we go. There we go. Yeah, it doesn't matter that by every metric Canada is doing terribly. Every arrow is pointing down. It's actually going great. They're doing a great job, she tells us. And really, it's the Conservatives' fault. Why can't they understand, even though reality completely disagrees with her? Why can't the Conservatives just get it? They're doing a great job. Asked about Canada's bad job numbers in the most recent government report and other bad data points from the government reports. And the Carney Liberals accuse the Conservatives of talking down the Canadian economy. It's embarrassing, Brian Lilly says. It certainly is. What's embarrassing is that they keep getting elected doing this. It's just been 10 years of this, and it seems to be enough. Things are bad. They stand up and say, Conservatives are mean, but everything's great. Just year after year. Here's Conservative MP Garnett Genuous destroys the Liberals' economic record. It's from Mark Nixon. Let's see how this goes. Let's take a look.
8,000 full-time jobs were lost in the last month alone. We are losing jobs at speeds not seen in a generation. We have the only shrinking economy, the second highest unemployment, the highest household debt, and the highest food inflation in the G7. The Minister of AI blamed...
So, all real, all facts. Okay.
Job numbers on the war in Iran. The Prime Minister says they're not so bad. People have had enough Liberal excuses. They want more Canadian jobs. So will Liberals finally get out of the way so Canadians can get back to work? 108,000 full-time jobs and almost 50,000 youth jobs lost in 1 month alone. This Liberal Prime Minister is responsible for generational deficits and generational job losses. Development blocked, not a single major project approved. Now this fall, I announced the Conservative Jobs Plan, unleashing the economy, fixing immigration, fixing training, building homes where the jobs are. After a year of failure, why won't they simply adopt the plan that we've already put forward?
So let's see. I'm going to guess it's going to be deflect and then lie and tell everybody that everything's actually great and they're doing a great job. Although, actually, that's the entire clip. All right. Is there something underneath? No. God damn it. Oh, well. But that would have been that. Let's see. What's going on here? Mark Nixon posted this completely unhinged. Melanie Jolie screaming, pointing, and yelling does not make her appear like she knows what she's doing, but it's all she's got. Unfortunately, it's all she's got. And apparently it works. They keep getting elected doing this. Let's take a look.
Last week, I was privileged to walk the line at Oshawa GM assembly plant, speaking with auto workers directly. And I could see firsthand the pride, skill, and dedication that built Oshawa's auto industry. But they are the ones paying the price for this Liberal government's inaction. Uncertainty is making it harder for them to plan their futures and count on stable livelihoods. We need to protect their jobs and grow Canada's auto industry. Will the Liberals finally stand up for Oshawa and all auto workers and support our Conservative plan for a tariff-free auto pact?
No, they're not going to do that. Spoiler alert, no.
The Honourable Minister of Industry.
Speaker, I have a lot of respect for Oshawa auto workers and my colleagues, but the reality is she should talk to her colleague from Oshawa North who went to Washington and talked down Canadians saying that we're having a hissy fit regarding the...
Okay, so there's the deflection, and now she's going to tell us that they're actually doing a great job and everything is awesome.
And not defending the auto workers, and not even defending the investments that this government is making in them. Mr. Speaker, we have an auto plan. It's a good one. She should also talk to Unifor because this union, which represents also the workers in Oshawa, is against their plan.
The Honourable Member for Oshawa.
It'd be awfully nice if we saw this Liberal government do something. I know firsthand Unifor members love our Conservative auto strategy. Maybe it's time they spoke with folks on the assembly line. Since 2015, auto production in Canada has been cut in half. It is down another 7.8% under this Liberal Prime Minister. At a time when unjustified American tariffs threaten our sector, the Liberals have failed to table a plan that would persuade Americans to remove tariffs on Canadian goods. Will they support our Conservative plan to double auto production through a tariff-free auto pact?
Steve says, I'm surprised they don't stand up and say Bidenomics is working. Well, the Liberals in Canada are just like the Democrats on steroids. Even more commie and insane. Yeah, this is what we have to deal with in Canada. Just this. It's just deflect, and actually everything's actually awesome, and we're doing a great job. And they just keep doing it year after year after year. And apparently it works. Apparently it works. Somehow. All right. Let's go back to the chat for a second. And then we're going to do the meme review. Avada says, I see the future weather girls of Greenland. They should be on the Weather Channel. I 100% agree. Let's see. Nevada says, I'm going to change the name to Greatland. No, if you don't know, JJ Nevada has his heart set on taking over Greenland one day and becoming Emperor of Greenland. And I mean, I certainly wish him the best. I hope it happens. I'd certainly go and visit. And he's already planning things down to the details, like how large the breasts will be of the weather girl in Greenland. And I think these are important details. Going to change the name to Greatland. I would call it the Green of America. Or I guess Greenland. Maybe just Land of America, but maybe Green of America. Something like that. Let's see, like Gulf of America. Let's see. Frozen Wasteland of America. Well, we get these testimonials often about the good karma that I dole out when people like the stream. Steve says, I can feel all that good karma working. Like the stream, everybody. Like the stream and get all that good karma working for you. Let's see. Let's see. Brian says, believe it or not, the eastern blood-sucking cone nose is a common assassin bug here in Ontario. Few people know about them, but they live among us. They live among us. That is terrifying. Let's see. And Nevada says communomics. That's what's going on in Canada. Uh-oh, wedding discussions going on with Rosie there. Okay. That's the step away. Let's see. All right. Let's move on. Let's do the meme review. All right. Another sip, people. Give me another sip. Hold on. Okay. Razor Sharp Thoughtfulness posted this. The patron saint of minorities. Karen of Suburbia. Head of the HOA. Driver of a Prius. Mother of trans kids. Yes, so these are the people, the progressives, that see anybody who's not them, anybody who's not white, as being a junior member of humanity. They see them as children. They see themselves as mother figures to all of these lost souls of the world. And they do not see them as equals. I want to make that very clear. These are junior members of humanity in their eyes. They require the help of the patron saint of minorities, them. And it's an extremely racist view that they have. But I mean, these are the people who think that black people don't know how to get ID, for instance, right? Or that just everybody, like the refugee from Syria, definitely has nothing to do with ICE. And if he does, well, that's just because it's Trump's fault or something. These are people who do not see. I view all people as members of humanity in full members of humanity with agency and free will of their own. The patron saint of minorities does not. Right? She has a very kind of, I would say, racist view of them, cloaking itself as benevolence. And so she very happily ruins Western civilization so that she can feel good and post on social media about what a good person she is, the Karen of Suburbia, the patron saint of minorities. Right? She's posting pictures of her trans kids right now on I guess it would be Instagram or Blue Sky. She's posting pictures of her trans kids on Blue Sky right now while she's destroying Western civilization. What's this? Lady Liberty posted this. Okay, it's time to go, Death says to Chuck Norris. He says, was I a good boy? Death says, no, you are a legend. Chuck Norris, people. Rest in peace. What's this? There was one of these I wanted to see. What was this one? People who trust the government. Look at that. They think it's beautiful, refreshing rainstorm. And it's just that guy from the government pissing on them over the fence. There you go. People who trust the government out there, invigorated, naked in the rain. And it's the government pissing on them. And they're not going to figure it out, unfortunately. I wish they would. I wish they would figure it out because it makes things terrible for everybody else. I don't like being pissed on. Let's see. A paper. What's this from? Lady Liberty again. A paper straw and a plastic wrapper. The green movement in a single picture. Yeah, maybe it's not about saving the planet, huh? Maybe there's a bunch of money to be made in it, perhaps. I don't know. Maybe somebody should ask Mark Carney, Prime Minister of Canada, about that. Let's see. What's this from Bill? Trying to plug in the HDMI without looking behind the TV. It really is that uncomfortable. It really is. Let's just move on. Let's see. Chilling effect. No mother should have to fear for her son's life every time he robs a store. I feel like this might be photoshopped, but she should, though. She should actually. That's a very rational fear, actually. So in like normal countries, that's the sort of thing you should fear. And maybe teach them not to rob stores. That's a good. In fact, I think that's the best solution of all. Let's see. Does your dog bite? No, he doesn't bite. What does he do though? He slaps. He's an Irish slapper. Hey, look, it's better than getting bit. Netflix's woke propaganda. Let's see. So the game, and then there's the anime, all the characters, and then there's the books. There's the characters in the book, and there's the Netflix, and there's the Netflix adaptation right there for the modern audience who apparently doesn't actually exist. Somebody should have told those people who made the new Star Trek Academy thing about that the modern audience doesn't actually exist. When will they learn this? Every time they do that, every time they Netflix it, every time they Netflixify something, every time they modern audience something, it ends up bombing. Like how much? Like seriously, how much money are they willing to lose? Let's see. Lando Niffer, I don't know what that is. I'm not making progress with my bucket list, Bugs Bunny says. Change the B to an F and you'll feel better about it. The fucket list. Which is better, the bucket list or the fucket list? Both are equally good. Let's see. Trumplicans 2024 posted this. The more I watch liberal white women, the more I understand the Salem witch hunt. Because it's kind of indistinguishable, right? They're kind of just the same thing, like witches, modern leftist women, modern, liberal white women, witches. I can't really tell the difference. If I saw just like, I don't know, some... Like if you just saw like some, Karen, like, flying by on a broom, would you be that surprised? The more I understand the Salem witch hunt. They were onto something in Salem. They were onto something then. They figured it out. Let's see. What's going on here? Sask writer gal. Censorship is the tool used when the lie loses its power. Well, in Canada, we have a prime minister. Well, we had the former prime minister, Trudeau, who was obsessed with passing censorship bills and hates bills. And now we have a new liberal prime minister called Mark Carney, who was supposed to, reel in Trump, and he knew how to deal with men like Trump. And he was going to get a trade deal by July. And he knows how the world works. And he was going to save the Canadian economy. Well, things are actually worse. Things are actually worse. And it appears that 90% of his legislation is all about censoring the public. Bill C8, Bill C9, Bill C22, so they can spy on you, spy on what's on your phone. Everything seems to be about just control. Weird that the leftist promises to fix everything and then just wants to censor you, throw you in prison for accurately describing reality, and spy on you. Weird. That's never happened with leftist leaders before, has it? Weird. What's going on here? Trumplicans 2024 again. Let's see. Patriot tan line. I see. Liberal tan line. Fact check true. Let's see. What's this? Red always. I think you're right. I didn't say anything yet. I'm just trying to save time. Fact check true. Fact check true. I mean, this is it's how you stay out of trouble. That's what that is. Let's see. CJC posted this one. I'm not turning around. Full speed ahead. So there's Carney, there's Trudeau. Let's see, court rulings, liberal government, unconstitutional violation, illegal. Yeah, not true. Well, look, I said that Carney was going to be Turbo Trudeau, and I was right. What's going on here? The Conservative Alternative posted this one. This is Emily. Emily wants to join the girls' football team. Emily can't because of the transphobic rules. Look at that poor girl. She's devastated. I think crying, right? I think crying. Poor thing. Poor girl. I mean, what cruelty. What cruelty. Not allowing Emily to play in the girls' football team. It's sad. I mean, it's an exaggeration, but, you know, it's also true. Let's see. Best community note ever from Clown World here. Chuck Norris was a great action star, but politics may overshadow his legacy. Oh, that's right. So, like a woke writer from Variety decided to crap on Chuck Norris after he died because he had the wrong politics and he was mean. Readers added context. Chuck Norris killed his shadow while shadowboxing. That's why you never see his shadow when he comes up behind you. Chuck Norris can never be overshadowed. Oh. That's why. That's why I'm glad that the readers added that context. And this is why X is awesome, by the way. It's better than the other ones. Gnosis Wolf says she's a keeper. Well, let's see. What's going on here? So the scary thing happened. Oh. Well, normally if there's any kind of music, that immediately gets, but it's only 11 seconds. Let's try it. I just like it. I like it. All right. Let's see. When the doctor tells you that your vagina has prostate cancer. Oh my God. Well, that is tough news, isn't it? That's really rough news and confusing. Confusing news as well. Let's see. Understand the importance of your existence. Your bloodline waited centuries for an MF like you to wake up. Your bloodline waited centuries for an FM like you to wake up. You know, this is the tragic thing, right? All of the, you know, just these uncounted generations suffered and fought and clawed their way so that you could be born, right? All of these generations reproducing, clawing their way through, and through almost all of human history, it's been a damn nightmare. Like really hard. Like, 50,000 years ago on the African savannah, dodging lions that want to eat you. All of that, suffering through like the Middle Ages and everything just to get to you. And you're the end result. And it's tragic when it just results in this. Hold on a second. One second. Hold on. Hold on. I got to get a really good one. Hold on. Hold on. I got to find the perfect one. I believe this is it. So all of those people struggled and clawed to exist, to live, and to reproduce. And then this is where it all ends up.
Otherwise, is there any way I could offer you that table on the room? You still have a water view. It would be a little bit more private. It's just I cannot have you recording other guests.
Okay. Let me see what I can do. Let me see what I can't face that way because the light is coming this way, but
yeah. or this.
Smart and organized as a group of fucking people. And those little bastards that sit on the edge of the ICE protest, those ICE agents that sit there and they just fucking shake the can of fucking pepper spray or whatever.
Can you imagine if that guy and that mother, 20,000 years ago, living in a cave, struggling for existence, struggling to reproduce, to pass down their genetics so it can then be passed down again, all of that, all of these many, many thousands of years, and it just turns into that. He'd be like, wow, it really wasn't worth it. Really was not worth it. What a shame. Jeez. Really? For that? I had to fight a saber-toothed tiger today. For that? Anyway, let's see. Elon Musk says the side that needs to build a wall to keep people from leaving is the bad side. Let's see. Socialism versus capitalism. Socialism is better than capitalism. When the Berlin Wall fell, who ran to which side? Well, they always run away from the socialism. They always run away from the communism. They always run away from that thing. All right. I think that's all of them. All right. Let's, all right. Wait, something beautiful has happened. Hold on. Something I think wonderful has happened. Where is it? Oh, no, that was the Rosie one from earlier. Okay. All right. I thought there'd been another membership gifted, but no, it was just the one, but it just took a while for it to go through. Okay, that's cool. All right. Let's see. What are you guys talking about? What are we, an hour and 43 in already? Yikes. Okay, here we go. Okay, you guys are still talking about the weather girl of Greenland, so I'm just going to go right past it. Let's see. Okay. Still talking about the weather girl of Greenland. Let's move on. Izzy says, I can't be bothered to even watch clips of the new Star Trek. They're pretty appallingly bad. Even just the clips. Let's see. Izzy says, everything the woke touches turns to shit. Well, a great man once said something like that.
Everything woke turns to shit.
It's true. It's as true today as the day he first said it. Let's see. Izzy says, we're living through the modern version of the witch trials. Well, in Canada, it just keeps getting worse. I mean, you had this former school board trustee fined $750,000 by the Kangaroo Human Rights Tribunal for just believing in biology. Nevada says Salem folk knew. They knew they were witches. Those crazy Karens, those crazy far left progressive women were witches. They knew it. Cal says, Parliament, what's the point? We're gonna get it back. We're gonna get it back. I believe it. I'm not black-pilled. Robot says, best community note ever. on the Chuck Norris one. That is the best one I've seen. I agree. Amazing Faces, how you doing? Oh, and Amazing Faces was gifted the membership by Rosie. Well, what a wonderful thing. Let's see. Spambot asked, did I miss the gifted membership? No, I made a big deal about it. I even, right on the spot, came up with a brand new way to praise people who donate the memberships. All right. Spambot is recommending Star Trek Continues on YouTube. That's the fan one, right? The one done by fans. I've watched that. It's actually really good. It's so much better than any modern Star Trek, for sure. I watched a couple episodes of it. It's good. It's like basically based around the original series. All right. Well, let's get on to the next thing. What do we have here? Was there something that I missed? 'Cause I had put something aside. And hold on. Did we miss this? Take notes, this girl gets it. Hold on a second. What's this?
Do you know what annoys me lately? Is all this boss bitch, bad girl energy vibes. Hold on now for a second, missus. Don't be getting your knickers in a twist. They make out that men and women are the same and we have the potential to do the same and reach the same heights as men. No, we don't. We are equal, but we're not the same. We need more fat than men. We need more sleep than men. We're not as stress resilient as men. We have a 28-day cycle, while men have a 24-hour cycle. Lucky bastards. You sleep in a house that was built by a man. You drive in a car on a road that was built by men. Society would not be able to function without men. Rather than seeing each other as competition, we complement each other, and that's what makes the relationship between the two so beautiful. So the next time you look down on men as if they're shit on your shoe, remember all the hard work your father or your grandfather or great-grandfather has gone through. And don't be so disrespectful.
I don't understand what is so offensive about the idea that men and women are equal but different and complement each other. Why is that offensive? In what world is that offensive? Right? In what world does it even make any sense to say that men and women are exactly the same at everything and have the same potential at everything? It doesn't make any sense. Obviously, we're sexually dimorphic. We don't have the exact same bodies. We don't have the exact same brains. Obviously, it's not like we're different species, but there are differences and they're important. You know, complementary. That makes sense, doesn't it? Doesn't it? For sexually reproducing species, male and the female are complementary to each other. They maybe have different roles, but they're both really important. Izzy has fallen in love, and Amazing Faces loves her too. And Nevada too. So start mass emailing her marriage proposals, guys. Let's see. Hold on. That was from way back. Let me just I thought that there was one other thing, and I think I've missed it. Let's see. Maybe it was for something else. There was something you guys sent in. And I grabbed something to complement it, and no, I guess it's not here. All right, well, that's okay. That's cool. Nope, not there. Oh, what's this? We missed this one. Septic tanks pumped, swimming pools filled, not same truck. Thank goodness. I don't trust them. Let's see. All right. Well, I guess that is it. All right, let's move on. What's going on here? We're almost 2 hours in. I think we've done enough Canada news. We don't need to do any more. I'll save that for Friday, maybe. Let's see. Let's get to, well, since this is the last one. All right. I just want to get to why Canada's insane. One last thing on why Canada is so insane. Canada has gone mad, posted this. Liberals handed Algoma Steel $420 million in 2021 via the Net Zero Accelerator for green electric arc furnace technology, plus another $400 million federal loan in 2025 to protect jobs during tariffs. The result? 1,000 layoffs in Sault Ste. Marie as they shut down blast furnaces. Yet another green net zero deal gone bad. Well, Carney will love this. It's green. It won't change the weather at all, but 1,000 people get to lose their jobs and a ton of money gets to be spent on green nonsense. Let's take a look.
Monday will mark the final shift for many workers at Algoma Steel. Union officials have been working to ensure those laid off are being treated properly as hundreds leave their posts.
We're all humans making all these decisions on who should stay and who shouldn't based on seniority, and people are phoning in. We're having to go back and double check our work to make sure that it is based on the collective agreement.
Since early Monday will mark the final shift.
Everything's going just great. Mark Carney will love this. This is net zero. Again, won't change the weather at all. Will do nothing. But, it's net zero, though, so it must be good. It must be good. By the way, $420 million in 2021, another $400 million plus another actual $100 million in 2025. It's an enormous amount of money to have 1,000 jobs laid off. Now, these electric arc furnaces, are not the same. You can't actually use iron ore. So these plants won't be able to make virgin steel anymore. It's basically recycling old iron, which I would think is probably not good for Canada. Let's see. How Canadian steelmakers are greening their steel amid tariffs, global challenges. October 11th, 2025. So, yeah, CBC thinks this is great. Just great. Hold on a second. Let's see. Algoma, electric arc furnaces for secondary steelmaking. Algoma is cutting out the CO2 generating chemical reaction part of the equation altogether by not making steel from iron ore at all at its Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario plant. It's shutting down the blast furnace and coke oven used to do that. Still creates CO2, just not as much. Instead, it's switching entirely to secondary steel making, which recycles scrap steel or relies on refined iron instead of iron ore. That still needs to be heated to a very high temperatures, but that can be done with an electric arc furnace without fossil fuels. And before you go on about the 50% steel tariffs from Trump, Trump's not going to be around forever. And this is absolutely a possible national security threat in the future if we can't produce our own virgin steel, if we're relying on recycling. It seems like a way to inject a bunch of money into a company at the public's expense. And I know that this latest thing is a loan, but we know how that goes, don't we? When they loan, we know how that goes. This just feels like a money grab. The company gets a huge infusion of cash at the public's expense. And this is not actual long-term thinking. This is just net zero fad. But also, I would like to know if Brookfield is involved in any way, which I'm going to guess they are. Maybe we'll ask, you know what, let's do a fact check right now, actually. Hold on. Oh, sorry, that's the wrong one. This one. Fact check. Furnace project. All right, hold on a second. Let's just see. Yes, Brookfield has indirect involvement with Algoma Steel's electric arc furnace project, primarily through its renewable energy operations and personnel connections. Though it is not a direct owner, investor, or contractor to the EAF facilities themselves. Key connections, power supply for the EAF's electric arc furnaces. You knew that Brookfield was going to be making money off this, didn't you? You knew it. We didn't even really have to look. We knew they were going to be involved. Let's see. Personal links. Dennis Turcotte, a former CEO of Algoma Steel, now holds a senior role at Brookfield. now holds a senior role at Brookfield Asset Management. I mean, come on. It's right in front of everybody's face. It's right there. Why hasn't CBC mentioned this? How long did it take us to find this out? We just had an idea. Gee, I wonder if Brookfield is involved with this like everything else that Mark Carney is pouring Canadian dollars into. It took us 10 seconds. Where's the CBC? Where's CTV? Where's Global News on this? Why couldn't they mention this? It didn't take long for us to find out, did it? I have to conclude that they don't want us to know. That they're lying through omission, that they're not interested. They don't, in fact, nothing good could come from them from investigating or interrogating anything that Mark Carney does, right? Their job is to promote Mark Carney, not to criticize him, not to hold him to account, not to speak truth to power. Absolutely not. Geez, how did we know? How did we know Brookfield was going to be involved, huh? Just crazy. Let's see. It started with Justin Trudeau in 2021. Let's see, it was 2020 when Mark Carney became it was 2020 when Mark Carney became economic advisor to Justin Trudeau. Huh. A year before this happened, 420 million then. Wow. It almost feels totally corrupt. Electric arc furnaces for steelmaking have several downsides, primarily high electricity consumption and costs, dependency on stable power grids, and sensitivity to scrap metal quality. They also pose environmental challenges such as emitting dust, noise, and greenhouse gases, and require expensive electrodes. It's almost as if none of this is about changing the weather, and it's all about just making huge piles of money. Isn't it? All right. Well, it never gets any better. Let's see. And in the meantime, on April 1st, our government is still going ahead with increasing the industrial carbon tax from $95 per ton to $110 per ton. We're in a cost of living crisis, yet these scum, according to Ryan Garrettson here, don't care that it will make much of our life more expensive. Yeah, it's all madness. Gee, it's almost like Mark Carney isn't actually looking out for the well-being of Canadians. He's got some other plan, huh? Wonder what that is. I wonder if it has anything to do with him getting incredibly wealthy. I wonder. Let's see. Let's go back to the chat here. What are we talking about? We're talking about the Irish lady here. Steve says that made too much sense. No leftist will ever agree with it. I don't see what's controversial about saying that men and women are equal but different. They complement each other. You know, sexually reproducing species, sexually dimorphic, that whole thing. It kind of makes all perfect sense, doesn't it? Rosie says, if women and men were the same, you would have told, if women and, oh, my poor brain.
I ain't got a good brain.
It feels like I'm playing that clip more and more often these days. Let's see. Rosie says, if women and men were the same, you would have Todd Howell videos on loop. Oh, dear Todd Howell. Do you know that there were people who actually doubted Todd Howell once upon a time? I mean, they've learned their lesson now, but there were people, you don't believe me, do you? You don't believe me? Well, listen.
So the word on the street is Todd Howell, 30 years at Channel 10. Do you know how hard that is to believe? I just can't wrap my head around it, as we say in the business. But it's been a great 30 years. I can remember like it was yesterday when Todd Howell gave his first weather forecast and said, up here in Texas, I finally figured out where Texas was. So, but I thought maybe this isn't for him. But turns out it was.
Yeah, turns out it was. That piece of human garbage actually doubted Todd Howell, even for a second. That's inexcusable. Inexcusable. All right. Let's see. We've got a link here from Spambot. Let's take a look. Hold on. Take a quick look. Copy link address. Link monkey. Link monkey. Fetch me my links. Yes, sir. Right on it. Let's see. From Keen Bexty. Breaking Calgary's most despised mayor has home raided by police amid corruption investigation. How about that? Alberta Inclusive Growth 2025. Yeah, that was Giotti Gondek. She was a real loon, wasn't she? Corruption allegations. Maybe that's maybe they're trying to figure out where all the money for fixing that water main went. Let's see. The searches targeted Gondek, former councillor Sean Chu, and sitting Ward 10 councillor Andre Shabbat. All three have said they are cooperating with authorities. Gondek confirmed that officers attended her residence with a warrant and seized a cell phone. Well, how about that? I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised at all. All right. All right, we'll do another one here. Hold on. What is this one? Let's see. Bright Atlas accountability. She's running away from it. This should have been in the meme review. Should have been in the meme review. But I've noticed it's a pattern with a lot of women. Not all women. Not all women, but with many women, I've noticed it's a bit of a pattern. Running away from accountability. All right. We'll do the last Spambot one here, and then we're going to get to the stories because we've got to wrap this up fairly soon. Hold on. Rothmus, I was high as fuck last night and realized something. Donald, and then Donald. Okay. Doesn't make any sense, but that's the whole point of being high AF, that things don't make sense. All right. Let's see. So yeah, that'll be it. There was nothing else in that story about Gondek, the old Calgary mayor, but maybe we'll look at that on Friday. More, I'm sure more will come out, hopefully. Let's see. Steve says green subsidies are the biggest ripoff. It pales in comparison, though, to the virus. A lot of people made a lot of money during that time. A lot of people made a lot of money during that time, and a lot of people lost a lot of people lost their lives, their businesses. I think it was like 250,000 small businesses closed because of the lockdowns in Canada. Let's see. Izzy says, costs more and will likely bankrupt the company if it doesn't come down in price. None of this stuff ends up working out well. How did all that $50 billion in subsidies for EVs go? It always ends badly. Let's see. Izzy says, yeah, probably destroy the steel industry in the hopes of Carney getting rich. Yeah. It's not about the interests of Canadians. It's about Carney's interests. They're two very different things. And again, like, it's like, gee, I wonder if Brookfield's involved. 3 seconds later, oh yeah, totally involved. Brian says, Saber-toothed tiger is a pushover. It's the short-faced bear and now the lying liberals. The landscape is fraught with hazards. There's a lot of Canadians who don't understand how much this country has changed and how negatively. Cal says, my toxic male ancestors are the ones who protected the village from wolves. You know, people don't understand like what a menace wolves were, like what a nightmare wolves were. Like they were a major, like just traveling between villages, you know, like wolves were a major threat. They would come, they would just kill you and eat you. They would like raid villages, you know, like big wolves in packs, and people didn't have guns back then, right? Like in the Middle Ages, right? Wolves were a major, major menace to humans. And that's why you have all the fairy tale stuff and commies, Cal says. And now it's commies. Not so much the wolves anymore. Now it's the commies. Let's see. Steve says, I'm out. Keep up the commie hate. We will, good sir. We will. We salute you. All right. Okay, let's get to the last bookmark here, and then we're going to call it a night. Rick Harrison says Trump called him to apologize from Defiant L. So he's the Pawn Stars guy. Let's listen.
Most memorable time you've ever had with Trump?
When he called me up and apologized to me.
For what?
This is in 2018. He's having a rally here in town for a guy running for Congress, someone running for Congress and Senate, and they wanted me to announce him at the rally. So I show up with my son Jake and my daughter Serena. White House staff, hey Rick, how's it going? Like, come on this way. And we go to backstage, and like Secret Service goes, he's not on the list. And they're going like, but it's Rick Harrison. His friend's like, not on the list. Doesn't matter. And I'm literally trying to call like a U.S. senator and some other people, you know, some congressmen. I can't get a hold of anybody. Secret Service throws me into the public and I am getting mobbed. And we had to leave. We could not stay there. So we ended up driving home. I dropped Jake off. I'm so pissed off. I'm going to the bar. I get like a block from the house, and then like Senator Heller's number pops up on my truck. I'm like, and like Senator Heller knows I have no filter. So the first words out of his mouth is like, Rick, before you say a word, the President of the United States would like to talk to you. And the first words out of Trump's mouth were, Rick, I am really sorry. This is all my fault. Because my White House staff, they work for me. They screwed up. That makes it my fault. I'm sorry. You know, they should have informed the Secret Service. So I'm sorry. Will you please come back down to the convention center? We'll try and make this happen. And you're not going to tell the President of the United States no. So I turn around, go back to the house, grab my son Jake, says, President wants us to go to the convention center. Where do we get there? So it was funny. So we're driving down there, and then I got a weird phone number pop up on my truck there. And I'm like, some guy goes like, this is such and such with the Secret Service in D.C. I have the Secret Service guy at Vegas on location. We have the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police under sheriff, and all these people are on the phone. The big guy says, get you to the convention center. Where are you at? What are you driving? I'm saying, when I'm driving a gray Raptor, I'm going down Desert Ed right now. He goes like, where are you at? I'm going like, I'm right at Durango. When you get to Decatur, whether the light's red or green, stop, flash your headlights. So we literally, the light is green. We got people honking at me. I stop, and all of a sudden, like 8 cop cars that come out of nowhere. I get a phone call, follow us. And I got my son there going like, Dad, who do you know? I'm like, I guess I'm kind of important. And they got us to the convention center, and my son got his picture with the president.
You know, these are stories that would be of interest to the public on like CNN or MSNBC or NBC Nightly News or ABC Nightly News, CBS News. Never see it. Never see it. Again, tell me this wouldn't be of interest to these kinds of stories. And there's so many of them. It shows that, first off, that there's the personal Trump and then there's the public Trump. And they're two different people entirely. Bill Maher talked about this as well when he met Trump. He said they're two different people. Let's see. This one, I might save this for Friday, actually. Save that one for Friday. Chloe Roma says the real reason why men aren't committing anymore, it's because they don't want to play a game that they're always gonna lose at. Well, let's take a. I guess this is true.
I'm about to say something that not a lot of people want to say out loud, but I'm starting to really understand why there's more and more women finding themselves single into their 40s, why men aren't fighting for relationships anymore. Duh, Becky, it's because men don't feel safe. Because don't get it twisted. When men come on the internet and they see a situation like Taylor Frankie Paul, where there is video evidence of her abusing her man, and women still bend over backwards, mental gymnastics to find a way to justify it. Even using terms like reactive abuse. It must have been what happened before the camera turned on that justified her whipping stools at her baby and then not tending for the baby. I mean, come on. When shit like this starts to happen, men start paying attention. And believe me, they started paying attention all the way back to Johnny Depp. They see how quickly the narrative flips, how fast the man turns into the villain, even when he's the clear victim. They stop fighting. They stop investing. They stop putting energy into something that can just flip on them overnight. Look at the family court system. Why would a man build a family with a woman when one day she could just cheat on him? She could say, provide for me, work your ass off, and then he does it, and then she's gargling down another heat-seeking moisture missile under the pretense of you worked too much, you neglected me. Then he loses his house, half of his pension, half of his saving, and his children. Why would men do that? These studies are coming out. Women are staying single and not by choice. And people are sitting here and they're wondering why? Dazed and confused? We want to ask that, but nobody is asking why men are walking away. Nobody is asking why men are choosing to stay single rather than choosing to play a game that they are constantly going to lose at just because they have a purple-headed yogurt slinger. Like, men did not disappear. They are here and they want love, but men aren't dumb. They are not going to continue to fight for women who would never fight for them in the first place. They're not going to fight for women who think that their biggest contribution to the relationship is allowing the man to be in her presence. I'm sorry. Men aren't doing it anymore. So you guys can sit here, you can act dazed and confused. Don't ever get it twisted. Men are not afraid of commitment. They're afraid of what that commitment is going to turn into.
Yeah, look, if men had ever been that oppressive, there'd be no 19th Amendment, right? There'd be no women's vote. Society wouldn't be dominated by feminist ideas and progressive ideas, right? If they're not very, apparently men aren't very good, at least Western men aren't very good at oppressing women, it turns out. It's like with the conservatives generally, and censorship. I mean, when I was growing up, it was always the conservatives who they wanted to censor everybody and shut down everybody, shut down all the artists. Well, they didn't do a very good job, did they? It turned out the people really good at shutting down people down, really good at censorship, really good at telling people what they had to think and say. It turned out those were the leftists. They were way better at it than the conservatives. Turns out the conservatives were never all that censorious after all. If they had been, it'd be a very different society, obviously, right? Anyway, let's this one we'll skip to because we have too much Canadian stuff tonight. In 2016, men saved a dog from a reservoir in Almaty, Kazakhstan. In 2017, a statue was made for them. This is what I like to see here. Do they celebrate their men there? Look, they formed a human chain to save a dog from a reservoir, and they built a statue for them. Damn straight. I'm moving to Kazakhstan immediately. My dog's best friend is a deer, and I'm moving to Kazakhstan, and I'm going to save an animal from something. Maybe there's a well or something. I don't know. I might have to throw an animal down the well if I want to get the statue made of me, but I'm willing to do that. My best friend's dog is a deer, and they play fetch together. It's so cute, he says. Well, it is pretty adorable, actually. As long as it's not AI, which it probably is. But I've seen stuff like this before. People will rescue a baby deer, and it'll get to know their pets, and they all become pals. So it's probably real. Let's see if there's anything underneath. I like it. I like it when different species hang out and become buds. I'm choosing to believe that it's real. I think it's real. That's what I'm saying. Let's see. This is the best thing you'll see today. What's this? And there's no sound for this one. All right. So, wow, that is pretty cool. It's amazing, like how far technology has come. Like I think we take it for granted so often, but it is amazing the kind of technology you've got in your pocket now. It's really incredible. I don't want to do anything I need to think about right now. So this is going to be all the ones we do here are going to be stuff I don't need to think because my brain is now tired. 2 hours 60 minutes in. Oh, this is what I had the other thing for. Okay. What did I have it for? Let's see. Where was it? I had a thing. Okay. So she's talking about the Boston mayor. Based mother. Plowed in. You won't believe the Boston mayor's latest excuse for her budget crunch. So apparently they're not getting snow plowed anymore. They got a nice lefty mayor there. Let's take a look.
Boston Mayor Michelle Wu is blaming unexpected snow removal costs on her city's budget crisis. You're not the mayor of Miami, Michelle. How could you not be prepared for winter? You'd think there might be one person in her admin who's smart enough to say, maybe we ought to not blame this on the snow because it'll make us look like a bunch of imbeciles. But no, not one of them is smart or brave enough to speak up to Comrade Michelle. Maybe she should blame her shortfall on the fact that she spends like a scorned woman on a revenge-fueled shopping spree. Now city employees are being told that they can't order new office supplies or make building repairs where they work. But don't worry, Michelle just set aside millions for the legal services of illegal aliens in Boston. Congratulations, Michelle Wu. All your commie dreams are coming true.
Michelle Wu. Well, I did pull up something on her. Let's see. Oh, yeah. I just wanted to see what people were saying about her on X. Let's see. I'm sure Mayor Wu could get us a bike lane from Boston to New York City. Let's see. Jeff Cooner says, this is Mayor Wu's Boston. The city's public schools have eliminated giving students an F grade as well as testing. All students, no matter how non-proficient in reading and math, are automatically passed. No wonder Wu is celebrating record graduation rates. There's actually a lot about that in here. Let's see. Hold on. I think there was some more down here. Yeah, Boston schools made it impossible to fail, then took victory lap. Hold on. I guess we're not going to do that then. I can't bother. Boston schools made it impossible to fail, then took a victory lap when no one failed. But frauds, and especially that nut job mayor. Yeah, so who was the worst mayor? Johnson in Chicago, Bass in LA, Mamdani in New York City, Wu in Boston. Let's see. Wow, imagine a mayor that is actually responsible, has leadership, transparency, and accountability. Instead, Mayor Wu, sanctuary cities for illegal aliens, trying to get non-citizens to vote, won't work with federal authorities on enforcing immigration laws, rushes to judgment. Boston schools banned Fs, hired $120,000 equity grading consultants. Equity grading consultants. That means nobody fails. That's equity. So, yeah. All right. So, yeah. So they're sane people in Boston are mad. Let's see. What's this? Meanwhile, on the QE2 in Alberta, let's take a look. So we have a problem in Canada with trucks killing people and going off the roads and crashing. And well, it turns out that we have a lot of newcomers driving them, and the licensing system is now totally corrupt and fraudulent because we imported that from the third world. Let's take a look.
Ladies and gentlemen, what we've got here is Highway 2 Alberta and full fucking send of the year. Holy shit balls. One dirty big old fucking truck jumped the fucking meridian and fucking ended up down there. Holy fuck, is that awesome?
It's just becoming a joke in Canada now. Let's see. This is good, actually. Let's take a look at this.
I love you saying good. She's rewarding her awesome.
That's good. I like that one. What's this? Let's take a look at this. Okay.
I have a fun little game for you. Who tweeted this? Nick Fuentes or Zoran Mamdani's wife? I think it was the gay-ass people from Instagram that finally motivated me to get off the internet. And it was Rama Mamdani. Sounds like Nick Fuentes, but you would be wrong. It was Rama Mamdani. Then in response to a tweet, talking gangsta with my genius, the reply tweet was, hell yeah, Nick. Super duper genius, excuse you. That genius was Rama Mamdani. In response to a ton of people following their account, they wrote, why are all these faggots following me? Again, if you guessed Nick Fuentes, you would be wrong. And here, in what appears to be the clarification of an Indian name, the tweet is, it's actually an Indian god. As if it wasn't bad enough, it's a boy's name in India. I just can't. And when they asked Zoran Mamdani for a statement on this, his response was not, no, my wife is not a homophobic, racist, Jew-hating bigot. No. He just said, she's a private citizen. Oh, it's just always the people you least expect. I have a fun little...
Or most expect. But she's a communist, so it's okay. Mainstream media won't take any interest in that because she's a communist. What's going on? Jeez, look at this. So that was fast. Like he immediately, let's watch that again. Like, how long was that before those hornets or whatever they are were after him? Let's count it out. Let's see. 1, 2, 3 seconds he had. 3 seconds he had to get in the car. Yikes. This one I'll have to think, and I don't want to think. Do we watch this? Let's watch it again anyway.
Who are the people you can't make jokes about?
Muslims.
Muslim?
Yeah. Try that.
Yeah, but
See what your Twitter feed says.
Yes. Yeah, but that's not saying that you can't. That just means that they'll kill you. Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. I've said that.
Theoretically, you could.
You know, I've made jokes like, it's a religion of peace. There's a PC over there. There's a PC over there. And see, they're right.
The two most feared words the world over. They both start with the letter A. Letter A. Not doing that one. Yeah, I think I'm done, you guys. They were saving for Friday. Well, how long is this one? A minute. Let's do this one here. You'll never see this side of him portrayed on traditional media. This is why X is so important. Let's take a look.
But you only...
No, can't do it. Going to save that for Monday. Music. Can't do it. I think we already did this one from Bill Maher there. And that's it. I'm done, guys. 2 hours, 24 minutes. I got shit to do, people. You think I just hang around? You think I can just hang around doing live streams constantly? I got stuff to do, people. I got places to be. Got things to do. I got responsibilities. I think I just laze about doing live streams all day? Is that what you think? Let's get to the chat. Hold on. All right, we'll do some quick chat, then we're going to get out of here, people, till Friday. All right, something about yogurt finger. Spam bot. That's the one we watched. Did we watch it last night? I think we watched it last night. We did. Let's see. Trudeau Survivor says she has a neck tattoo. That's why men are running away. Sometimes they're nice. Sometimes they're nice. Turtles says, how you doing, Turtles? Says, my ex had a nightmare woman. Crazy pills. All had a crazy woman. Let's see. Well, Spambot says he's spoken with Chloe in person and she wasn't fully inked back then. Okay. Rosie says she does have a good point. Let's see. All right. Rosie forgot the new stealthy move to Alberta strategy. 2 on Friday. All right. I shall look forward to that. Let's see. Turtles asked, remember the guy who was trying to sing with groups to change the structure of water molecules? Well, that won't work. Let's see. Here in Washington, Turtle says, we accept 180 languages in the classrooms, and I believe you. Washington sounds absolutely nuts. Trudeau's driver asked, did we do energy today? We have not done energy, and you know what? I should have because I needed energy earlier. So I don't know. I mean, I just got a little bit more chat to get through here. But I don't even feel like I have the energy. I don't. I mean, I don't know. What can I do? I mean, I had some coffee. I had a couple of espressos. Like I smoked some crack and then some of that blue meth from Breaking Bad. Then I ate 27 polar bear adrenal glands and still not enough energy. Where on earth could I get the kind of energy and teapot. I never get sick of that. Never, ever, ever. I never find it less hilarious. I always love it. And I'll tell you what, it does give me energy. It gives me the they-them energy, the special they-them energy. All right. They-them energy or mattresses in the bedroom from the lady selling tires. All right. Let's see. Who names their wife Ramamamdani? I don't know. I don't think he named her. Let's see. Trudeau's driver says, wow, he knew the Hornets would be on him. Lickety split too. Yeah, they're fast. They knew right away. They're like, fuck you. Let's see. Izzy says, usually followed by a piece over here and over here. Trudeau's driver says, I'm so low on energy. Well, there you go. I gave you what you wanted. I give the people what they need. Bambot says, name your dog Allahu Akbar and let him loose at the beach and yell for him at the top of your lungs. You're going to clear that beach real quick. Let's see. Watch the beach clear in no time at all, Bambot. Yes, it's cruel, actually. Rosie says, I was forbidden by my husband from welcoming people at the airport with loud Allahu Akbar. Don't do it. Don't do it. The most feared words across the world. Let's see. Oh, Trudeau's chocolate. Oh, we got to do chocolate. All right. We'll do the chocolate and then we're out of here. Part of the contract that I made with the collective bargaining contract I made with the chat that I have to show chocolate after doing the day energy. All right, let's do it. Chocolate. Let's see what it comes up with. What do we got? Well, we got that one again. What the hell? Jeez, I gotta find a good one here. Ooh, what's this? Ooh, what's this? It says Fountain of Chocolate Lies. What? Is it just water? It's just water, isn't it? Oil on a brown background, very clever. But it's not technically chocolate, is it? No. Double standards by Cadbury's. They're making low-quality chocolate for Ireland. Are they? I don't know. We want some good chocolate. I don't know what the hell's going on there. Let's see. Look at that. Oh, look at all those chocolate eggs. Look at those twirls. Twirls are really good, actually. Oh, I could use some of those mini eggs. Look at that. And then the cream eggs. Oh, nice. I think we're happy with that, aren't we? I think we're all very happy with that. All right. Turtle says, you only live one snack bar. That's true. Izzy says, talking about the greeting people at airports with Allahu Akbar, says, someone will take you out in Florida if you do that. Don't do it. All right. Well, that's it, everybody. 2 hours and 30 minutes on a Tuesday night. What a wonderful thing. Anybody watching on YouTube right now, go to the second channel, subscribe to the second channel. It's the featured channel on the homepage of this channel, which is for live streams and Canadian news. Everything else goes on to Radio Baloney News, World News, U.S. News, meme reviews, and Afro Man's there, and Oscar's Failing is over there, and Trump Trolls Japan is over there. Join me, join all of us on Radio Baloney News and combine our powers and become more powerful than anyone could have ever imagined. It will terrify the gatekeepers. Do it immediately right now while there's still time. Go, do it now. There's no excuses. All right. All right, fake milk approved in Canada? I don't know. I mean, there's the grocery stores are full of fake milk made out of like almonds. Can you imagine the processing it takes to make milk out of an almond? It's not milk. All right. Everybody, thank you very much for showing up. If you guys, the only reason I'm here is because of you guys. If you guys weren't here, it would be very depressing indeed for me. I'd be ranting to a cold in a different universe, and that would be depressing. Thank you for showing up. I appreciate all of you, and I will see everybody hopefully on Friday night at 7:30 p.m. Pacific time, 10:30 Eastern time, and the next day I'm going on a road trip for 4 days, and I will stream when I can, but we'll see you Friday night.